good morning, or good afternoon, or whenever the life is presenting a timeline. I wish you well. And I am really excited about today because I was receiving this morning a little push from one of the masters, and I feel it's a very timely and important message he'll be bringing through. So let's see. As I shared last time or two, my themes may be seemingly running out in my mind anyway because they've been everything and everywhere. And but one thing I will share, I had in a session with someone yesterday. I was in a journey that I don't recall ever having before, anything quite like it. I had a conversation with a frog. I don't know why. It was, excuse me. I don't know why it was exactly that, presented in a frog aspect. I don't remember all the detail of the conversation, but it was very um, real to me. I mean, not just real, but it felt like I was speaking with a real um, soul in the same frequency. You know, it just happened to be in a body of a frog. And I laughed because in my mind I thought of Kermit, but unless it was in a different body, it wasn't a Kermit. So it was just a very fun, new experience for me. And I thought, just chalk that one up. I still go into meditations over these things, and maybe I get insights or remembrances of more important or the parts that I need to recall, but it hasn't all come back to me yet. Um, so I'm going to shift pretty quickly now because I really feel, again, that presence has been here moving me throughout the morning. So I pray everyone is feeling joyful and peaceful and ready to receive the next thing that comes forth. Okay. We greet you with the greatness of the grandeur of life that you represent to this day and to all the times in which we share. I am called Serapis Bey. I am indeed a master of learning and teaching all that can be given to humanity regarding your ascension and other aspects related to that. There is much conversation for quite some time as your days and decades of life are progressing about what this means, the ascension. Some souls have a deep understanding from their own experiences. Some receive and translate the messages they receive from the ascended realms as to how and when and all the aspects that could be related to it may be occurring. And we will not tell anyone that they are wrong about any of these things. But we do want to make a distinction with you about ascension through your consciousness here and now. There are many steps that can help that become more real and present with you. There are many techniques and rituals that can be done in order to assist your consciousness to shed that which is not bearing for you in the ascended realm, and to be therefore open to align with all that frequency that brings you into the ascended state of consciousness. Be grateful that now is not a time when you would be entombed in various ritual proceedings that I might have overseen in the days long before Egypt even. But I would tell you that the successes you have in your moments of realizing your unity with all that is, with the love of the frequency of divine consciousness, creative consciousness, all that brings to bear what you experience here now and all time. That is as precious as anything that you might even dream of being. So, let us clarify a few things from our perspective of this as a process for humanity. It is true, number one, that the earth that you dwell in these days upon, this Gaia, is moving into higher and higher states of consciousness as well, and moving higher and higher, so to speak, in the frequency known as ascending to. This planet is moving into the shift which will put this consciousness called Earth, Gaia, into a new realm of existence. Some interpret that as the realms of eternal peace, heaven on earth, and all of that is possibly true. Your participation in that process may be sped up by the accelerated frequencies that are interplanetary now, moving in all things in your life. Right now, there is the conscious awareness of the passing of the satellite you call the moon in orbit in front of the sun, or it appears to be in the sun's pathway. This energy is of very heightened importance for all of you. Not because there's a moment that things could be gone awry, or because things in that moment are manipulated in any way, but because that represents an important piece of your own evolution, we might say, of awareness, and your part in that, your participation in that. Not to go gazing at it, that's not what we mean by participation, but attuning to the frequency of what that represents within you, what is being eclipsed in your life now, and how can that assist you in this process we call ascension. And we also then will say that this process of ascension is instantaneous in any moment. That your activity in your waking moment, awakened, not waking in your sleepless state, but in your awakened moments, are all there is to the ascension. The process is to continue to recognize that the more you practice the ideals of what that moment of ascended awareness and consciousness is with you, that expands and becomes more in a sense of duration of time as you see it and feel it, more in the frequencies you are able to process easily and quickly through your bodies. These bodies, often referred to as the lower bodies, we just don't want to keep attaching that word because they all serve such a beautiful high frequency of your participation in creation. But the physical, mental, emotional bodies are becoming raised up as the ascension in process is occurring with you. So, ascension is not a magical event that will occur simultaneously for everyone who has been faithful to the belief in that. Sorry, that's not a probable reality for most. But the ascension might be that there can be, because of the growing frequency of love and the intention of love as moving through you into the world, that is growing. The numbers of individuals, the numbers of consciousness that are becoming united in intending peace through their loving presence. That is not been seen for so many eons of time here on this planet, in this plane of existence. And so it is becoming more and more real to those who are in participation with that conscious intent, to begin to experience and receive the activation of this ascension for themselves and for many who would, in some people's view, ride on the coattails of other people's efforts. It can be that those who are seemingly on an edge of their own awareness, of their own commitment, may be lifted so much by that frequency that they become very clearly ready. They have the aha moment of their mind that their body aligns with to bring forth that intention. And in any moment then, that becomes the united focus. All of that contributes to the upliftment of the planet itself, the upliftment of humanity. What can you do to accelerate your own ascension process? It is so simple. It is required that you return repeatedly to your review and commitment with being in alignment with the creation of all, being in alignment with love, being in alignment with peace, which resides within all those who choose to step out of the conversations and the activities of discord. That happens through a number of practices that might associate to that, such as using our beloved Saint Germain's violet flame, or the intention of transmuting the fears and the angers that still reside in your inner feelings, in your bodies. So that repeated intention, returning frequently to that, through your breath, through your visualization of the light that is streaming in and through you, moving through you. So many of these kinds of practices are important. Not that you simply would give yourself X number of minutes of meditation every day, perhaps starting your day, and now you go about the day with giving into the chaos and the confusion and your fears and your outrages and your disagreements or discords of all kinds, only to then return again to, now I will wake into my morning and I'll give my meditation, my prayer, visualized intention. Please do not abandon if you have that practice. Just continue to attune back into that frequently. When can you do that? You might prescribe it on your timeline, your schedule of activity. You might begin to notice the moments when you're just beginning to feel the discord and the disruption of thoughts that you no longer want to participate with. So it isn't to disengage as if it doesn't exist, it's to disengage from the place of the entrapment, so that you can then return to the practice in your breath, in your mindful intention, in your rebirthing the experience of light, the frequency of love in and through you for that moment. So, is it practical that for most humans' activity lives, moving in and about things that are important to the agreements you have with one another and with many, many larger contributions to humanity. So you have this commitment, so these activities are big. So it wouldn't be practical that you say, I'm going to have 20 minutes 3 times a day. You might. So be it. Play with that. Have fun with that. Enjoy the bliss and the integration that brings you. But if it's 1 or 2 minutes, you can do that many, many times throughout your day. Many times. Is it a matter of multitasking? This has become the common idea that some have about now that they can be on a device that offers them all this information. They handhold that while they're doing something else with the other hand, or they're walking and talking and doing. These are interesting activations of your capacity to be in more than one place at one time. But focus is important. It's important because when you think that you can manage all these things at once, most individuals cannot. They are distractions, one thing to another. And the focus of clarity and intention could bear a great value for you. So do as you need to do or feel you want to do in all of that realm throughout most of your day or your evening hours. And hold with great loving pleasure the moments that you can call forth your divine presence, the I am presence, that you can call forth through that the radiant love of the central sun. You can call forth the white Christed light. You can call forth however these matters have been important for your recognition of this part of your own beingness. But call forth from within, and within that asking for the assistance of all the other realms of light. That can be a minute or two. Very, very powerful. Very powerful. 2 minutes of breathing with conscious loving intent. Not trying to push forth the light from your being to do something in the world. That's another matter, and that can be wondrous. But to breathe in a natural way, and knowing that that pulses the energy in and through you and outward to all things, and it will be received by all beings in all realms according to their attunement to that. So we don't say, do not consciously send forth love, healing, and blessings. That is not what we're saying. But who you are as a wholeness of God presence, as His divine goddess presence, is worthy of 1 or 2 minutes, as frequently as you might accept that. To just be in the sustaining breath of holding that, in the gentleness of being, of the within the presence. So holding isn't not holding. It's in a state of being consistent, constant, with the frequency and the intent of love, of peace, of unity. Thank you. Would you then think that if your ascension means to you that you are free from further embodiment on earth, that might be true. When you're fully in that ascended realm, you are free to choose in ways that are beyond the choice that is driven by another part of soul which says, I need this, I want this, I have, my being wants to continue, to complete, to play in the physical world. However the soul makes that choice, the difference between the typical activity of the soul choosing that and your ascended consciousness is that in your ascended awareness, you recognize that you do not step into the label, the imprisonment, the karmic wheel, as some might think of it. You don't step into that if you choose to step into and out of form. It's not, it simply becomes the tool in a very conscious way of operating in any part of the process for the rest of humanity here or the rest of soul consciousness evolution elsewhere in this amazing, larger than you can even begin to imagine, creation. So, with ascension, yes, but it's not like you earned a gold star from having done it all correctly. It's that you have become remembered in who you are, your origin of who you are. And as I share these things with you today in the conscious naming of Serapis Bey, I remind you, I am not locked into or entrapped by the personality or the presence of that name or in that energetic ascended self. I choose that to focus as part of my agreement to serve through the rays of light for humanity. But I also know that I am one with all the other masters that have presented themselves. I am one with a creator larger than all of us even might be named and included into that one. I am one with these things. That is the ascended realm. It's not that just that you would ascend, rise up above the earthly stuff. That's part of it. But that you see all that earthly stuff as purposeful, beautiful, and not meant as punishment, is not meant as an entrapment of your soul. It never has been. It's the dogmatic teaching and some of the memory of the feeling of abandonment and separation from unity of the one, of the divine frequencies of light and love that are so powerful. But that draws you to the remembrance. It draws you to the commitment of practice, of building your activation in faith, because you're not competing. Who's going to be the first of my friends to ascend? It is not about that. All is one. So as you rise, so to speak, as you ascend from the limitation, you bring with you all that are desiring that. And that is the point of the Ascended Masters serving humanity. That our agreement is, as we have arisen into awareness and oneness, we are in availability to hold our hand forth, so to speak, for another, to be assisted in their capacity of ascension, in consciousness, in physicality. So ascending with your body may not be everyone's need or purpose. That serves oftentimes for the gift it brings to those who witness that, observe that, and experience that. Because the point of ascending with body is not for the individuation of ascension. I have access to finding my light in form whenever I choose. I have access to, in the all creation, to step in and out of form, animal, mineral, plant, humanity. It really is only by the purpose it serves and the message and teaching it can bring. I don't need to sustain my physical form, but I carry with me all that it has been at its most high consciousness, always. So there have been images, often by religious individuals, who have made these pictures of idealized pictures of ascended in the body, whether it's the master teachers that have been around for the millennium, or other beings that are witnessed to be rising up. That's only some piece of the truth of how that is. I'm not going to rock too many boats here when I say to you, some of the interpretation of being taken up by God is that some individuals left in a more particleized way of being put onto a vehicle that brought them to higher heavens. Some. And if you're thinking again that your ascension is that you will be rescued by the intergalactic fleets of ships, so be it. There may be some that will have a sense of assist, and all of that will very likely depend upon what's happening in the physicality of Earth itself. Even when the Earth itself is brought to a new way of expressing itself, a new formation of itself, it's likely to be an invitation then for those who are not ready to consciously ascend, to be assisted in some way, just as if someone dies, it is as it is called, in their physical body, and that soul is greeted where they need to be met in their understanding of spirit, in their understanding of the divine heavens. And that soul is then guided to integrate all that is possible and guided to choose what is next for them. For so many, it has been return, be born into a form, and go through all that. For some, it has been return in a new way. But see, we can go on and on about all the infinite possibilities. We are stating some of this so that you can begin to let go of fantasies or dogmas you have held about what your ascension is, how it will present, and when it will present. For most individuals, thus far in the timelines as are perceived in these dimensions, for most, ascension is more likely to occur as a process of the integration after they have let go of the body, the death of the body. Not all souls immediately go, now I'm in heaven and now I'm fully complete. That's why there is a bridge carrying over the dimensions between that physical identity and the regrouping or the facilitation of processing those experiences so that choices could be more clear. There are moments then when those choices become so clear that the ascension is inevitably accepted because they've now realized that all the lifetimes they've had, all the things in between, are now sacred to them. And they are not held in a checklist of do's and don'ts and rights and wrongs. They're held in love. So that can happen, and it is happening more and more for more souls. Their so-called time of processing between an incarnation here and an expression in another realm is quickened. So we know that there could be many questions arising from this presentation with you. We wanted to feed your soul, to let the mind move away from its need and intensity to comprehend and get it right, because there's nothing wrong. May the Ankh represent to you breath of life. May it represent to you the key of some of your origin and how you have moved in and through realms, and how you have embraced the physicality here from the soul perspective for the divine desire to love everything. Because that is all. It's made of the things that are made in your physical world have come from love, whether they came seemingly out of a mind, an invention of non-oneness awareness. All the energy that it comes into it is still the frequency of love. So that is why it needs forgiveness. It needs redirection, training, and release of the false bonds that come to these things. In the name of that which is the holiness that I witness you to be, that I am reflecting in you, we say, so it is. Hmm. Hmm. Wow, I feel pretty expanded. I will say briefly, part of my experience, I was in a Merkaba of light, and it kept growing, and I felt that I, in its form around me, was growing to fit into it in a way. So thank you for my journey today. I wish everybody a great rest of your day, and I know that my beloved Daryl will probably be putting comments about anything that needs to be mentioned about what we're up to on our side of life, and boy, I can't go there in my brain right now, so I wish all of you well and peace and joy. Have a great one.